Melon.
Yeah, there was. Boris Johnson has reportedly been interviewed by senior civil servant Sue Gray about alleged gatherings held in Downing Street while stringent COVID restrictions were in place for everybody else. It comes amid fresh claims in the Mirror newspaper. The Prime Minister attended a leaving party in the lead-up to Christmas 2020, during which he gave a speech to mark the departure of his defence advisor. Another Monday. I don't know where to begin sometimes with this, because the question here for me is it make or break for the Prime Minister? I mean, I suppose it's down to how many letters have gone in of no confidence, I guess. Tennis star Novak Djokovic touched down in Dubai overnight to find out that he faces a 3-year ban from the Australian Open after his visa was cancelled by a federal court. However, Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison said he could be allowed to enter entry sooner under the right circumstances. Well, let's picture, I suppose, 4 tennis fans in Australia. Is this the last they will have seen of the world number one on Australian land? A former head of royal protection has criticised Prince Harry for using the courts to challenge the government over plans to deny the Sussexes police protection in the UK. Prince Harry has applied for a judicial review of a Home Office decision not to allow him to pay personally for protection for him and his family. The Sussexes lost taxpayer-funded police protection, you'll remember, when they quit as senior royals. It was a really bruising moment for the Sussexes when they realised their police protection was going to be removed. What's stopping them from paying for it personally, though? And the former head of royal protection, Di Davis, will be joining us after 7 this morning. A fine of €100 a month. That's what over 60s in Greece now face if they refuse to get vaccinated, making Athens the first government in Europe to bring in such penalties. It comes as Italy and Austria are planning similar fines, and France is passing a law excluding unvaccinated people from venues like restaurants and sports arenas. Our chief correspondent, move, isn't it, Richard? How are people there, the over 60s at this point? Of course, that may lower to over 50s and over 40s eventually. How are they reacting to this? Also this morning, your peak 10 years after your last peak. I think that's hope for all of us in there.
I suppose so, yeah.
Absolutely, let's hope so.
Too, as you mentioned there, Susanna, fresh claims in the Mirror newspaper this morning that Richard Arnold, you'll corroborate.
Yeah, it's a slow decline.
Actually, yes, and I thought it was perfectly normal until you were like, no, nobody I know has tested negative that early on. But once I had COVID, then the rules changed before Christmas, didn't they? They went down to 7 days. So I really benefited from that sort of whole change.
Must have had
accusation. Lack of commitment.
Come on.
There are fresh claims in the Mirror newspaper this morning that the Prime Minister attended a leaving party in the lead-up to Christmas 2020, during which he gave a speech to mark the departure of his defence advisor. He's been spoken to by Sue Gray, finally. If that is true, could we perhaps be inching towards seeing this report, this much-anticipated report this week, Jonathan?
Ranvir, I think
Tennis star Novak Djokovic touched down in Dubai overnight to find out that he now faces a 3-year ban from the Australian Open after his visa was cancelled by a federal court. The Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, though, has said that he could be allowed entry sooner under the right circumstances. It's reported that Djokovic will be flying to his hometown of Belgrade, expecting to land at lunchtime. Let's go this morning, isn't it? You're out, but you might get back in. A fine of €100 a month. That's what over 60s in Greece now face if they refuse to get vaccinated, making Athens the first government in Europe to bring in such penalties. Let's move, but they're not alone, are they? I mean, how are the over 60s in Greece reacting to this sort of draconian sort of penalty? Also this morning, friends and family. Over to you too.
Ranvir, thanks very much indeed.
It's quite a list, isn't it? Shall we begin? The 15th of May 2020 saw the first reported Downing Street party. Boris Carey and 17 members of staff were pictured enjoying wine and cheese. Just 5 days later, around 100 members of Number 10 staff were invited to socially distanced drinks by the Prime Minister's aide, Martin Reynolds, although we think only 40 turned up. Fast forward to the 13th of November, and Carrie Johnson allegedly had a flat party. She denies that. On the 14th of December, a party organised by Sean Bailey's London mayoral campaign was held at Conservative Party HQ. And then a day later at Downing Street, Boris Johnson is photographed taking part in a Christmas quiz. Then, on the 18th of December, around 50 people reportedly attended a number 10 Christmas party, with footage emerging of the Prime Minister's then press secretary laughing and joking about that breach. That joke ended in tears and the resignation for Allegra Stratton, of course. And in 2021, the night before Prince Philip's funeral, Number 10 reportedly hosted 2 parties with staff drinking into the early hours and some DJing on a photocopier. So Sue Gray has a big job on her hands, does she not?
She's